Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another webinar series of Extreme Business Builder. This is Iman Agai, the founder of Success Road Academy, and today I am sitting here with Bob Burnham, the #1 Amazon best-selling author of many books, not even one.
Many, yes.
Many books.
Yeah.
And today we are going to talk about how Bob used his book to build his own business and how everybody else can use his book or her book to build a successful business. Also, like always, I'm going to ask Bob several questions about the baby steps, how he started, why book writing, why publishing, and what was the failures, challenges, successes that he had at the beginning of his business and even is facing today to take his business to the next level. Bob and I know each other around 2.5 to 3 years now, and we have done so many events and talks together, and it's always a pleasure to have Bob on the stage or here in webinars or in different seminars that we do. So, Bob, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of fun over the past few years, haven't we?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah.
Yeah, so one thing that you may notice is that this is the first one that this is the first webinar that we are doing that the speaker and I are sitting in the same place, and that's because Bob and I live very close to each other, so we are almost like 10 minutes away from each other, and we thought, okay, why do we do an event in our home separately, right? I'm actually in my home office today, so we thought, why do we do events in our home offices, both of us? Why don't we get together in one place and do the event? That's why you see both of us on one camera, which is not usually the way that Extreme Business Builder webinar series are. So, yeah. So, Bob, can you tell us about book writing?
Well, I can tell you lots about book writing. Mostly what I do know is I help entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers, consultants, and salespeople position themselves as best-selling authors to attract more and higher paying customers. So it's very much a model that we put together where we attract people and we have people pursuing us as opposed to us pursuing people, because the energy is always a little bit better. Obviously, if your customers are pursuing you, you're in a better position than you are pursuing customers. I mean, if you're banging on their door, a lot of the times you're busy, they don't want to talk to you, but if they're banging on your door and they want your help, I think that gives you a little bit extra winning edge, and it really works in a lot of different cases. And I've been doing it now for close to, I guess, 6 years, having a lot of fun with it. I was originally in the fire and flood restoration business for about 35 years, and I built the company up to 26 locations across Canada. And it was a very lucrative business, but it was a business I never had a passion for. I never really enjoyed going from plane to plane, office to office, and having so many employees. I got, of course, used to the money, but I just didn't enjoy it. So I started looking at business models where, I could really sort of live my passion. And of course, one of my passions is I love reading. As a matter of fact, I read sometimes between 1 and 5 books a week. So I'm a voracious reader. Yeah, sometimes, wow. Yeah, 1 to 5. We're not talking 400 or 500 page books. Mm-hmm. They're usually, 1 to 200 page books. But I love reading, and I thought, well, how can I make money reading, doing what I love? So I started looking at the model of writing, publishing, and selling my information. And the first book I did was a dog training book, where I tested out a lot of my marketing theories and such forth. And I haven't looked back since. I've been having a lot of fun, met and worked with a lot of really fantastic people. And I've just had, incredible breakthroughs as far as, some of the things that happened for me, as well as my clients, by positioning yourself as not only an author, which really helps, but also a best-selling author. Yeah, you bet.
Okay, that's great. Actually, one of the things that I really like about when you speak about book writing is when we can attract clients, but not only regular clients, but higher paid clients.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that's perfect with positioning ourselves as an expert that can get higher paying clients. That's just a dream for many entrepreneurs.
You know, Iman, a lot of people don't realize that. They really undercut themselves as far as pricing. I see that over and over again. I even see it literally in some of the bigger, what you want to call, self-help gurus out there that undercut themselves as far as pricing. But if you position yourself properly, um, and really, have a valuable information, which we help you with, and position yourself for the book, you'd be surprised at how really elastic pricing can be. And a lot of my programs now, sort of on the very you know lower end, is usually about $3,000, and on a higher end is $22,000 now. And I could even go higher, I know, but one of the reasons for me is that I don't go higher is because not only is my business my passion, but it's also a lifestyle issue for me. So what I mean by that is, I enjoy what I do, but I pick this business and what I'm doing because I enjoy the business, I enjoy what I do, I enjoy the money I make, but I also, really I want it to be basically a part-time job. So I know if all of a sudden, for me, if I start taking my prices even higher, which I could, it's going to involve a little bit more of my time, and it's just not a choice I want to make right now. Maybe I will in the future. Some of my clients do, but I like to keep my programs in between about the 3,000 to 22,000, maybe $25,000 price range, which I'm really happy with. I can give really really good value and great return on people that invest at those levels. But if I start getting into the $50,000 and $100,000, I could get a great return too. But I'm not right now prepared to put in the time that I think my clients would really expect at that particular level. So it's not a matter of I couldn't, it's just a matter of I don't want to right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting thing that one of the things that I noticed with startup business owners, like people who are starting a business, and then when I interview successful business owners or I sit with them as friends, like over coffee or tea or like lunch or whatever, um, one of the interesting thing is that I realized um, people that are starting their business have a guilt of charging the right amount of price from their customers. So one of the things that I always tell people is that if you are making a change, if you are making a positive change in people's lives, businesses, or environment, don't have a guilt of charging the price that you are worth. Instead, focus on how you can do the best thing for your clients. And if you can make the best change in their lives, make the best change in their businesses, or make the best change in their environment, people don't look at the price that they are paying you as a cost, but they are looking at the price they're paying you as an investment, and that investment is something huge. And I'm sure when you write a book, then inside your book you can show how how your services can change people's lives and how your services can change people's businesses. And because people have read the book or have partially read the book or maybe have read the first 10 pages of the book, 18. Right? 18. The first 18 pages of the book, like that's most of people read just 18 pages of your book. Right. Okay. Yeah. So actually, we will talk about that a little bit. I like to talk about the being a perfectionist. Yeah. Okay. But uh, when they read the first 18 pages of your book, then they realize what type of a change you can make in their lives, and that's why you are attracting the higher paying clients, because it just shows the client that what type of a change you can make in their lives, and then they don't look at the price that you're offering, to as a cost. They look at that as an investment.
Absolutely. That's really well put. And, you know, to take it a little bit further, really what they're buying is the transformation. So when we work with clients and we start, you know, developing their book and their back end business, and we start looking at the transformation that that particular author um, can help one of their ideal clients through, we start going, you know, what is that worth? And we start communicating the value of that particular transformation. So originally, we have to be really clear in ourselves, no matter what price we charge, that we feel that we're worth that. Because if we say our prices or investment is, the investment for our program is $5, and we don't believe it, we won't even get $5. But if we say our investment for our program is $10,000 and we really believe it, we'll get it, and we'll get it no problem because we're able to communicate the value of the transformation. So, give you an example. The example I want to sort of talk about is, you know, let's say in my particular niche, you know, positioning yourself as a best-selling author and some of the strategies that I teach my particular clients and authors. Well, I know, for example, there's, you know, probably 12, 15 really good strategies that I incorporate in the businesses and I teach. And if they were to use even 2 or 3 of those strategies, they would get back their investment many, many, many times over, year after year after year. And I see that again and again. So when I say to somebody the investment is $10,000, to me, I'm almost thinking, well, I'm selling money at a discount.
That's right.
Because, you know, if they use these strategies, they're going to get their money back over and over again. And I'm going to give you an example. I actually brought this with me because it's really, talk about synchronicities. It's really, really neat one. I was on a webinar last week, and we were talking to a group all about positioning, of course, themselves as best-selling authors. And we were going through the whole process and what it could do for them and stuff like that. And during the middle of the actual webinar, I got an email. Now, of course, I shouldn't be looking at my email, but I was. But anyhow, this email, I can read it now. I couldn't read it at the time because I had to get permission from the person who sent me this particular email. So I got the permission after the call, and I said, you know, this is a really good sort of testimonial of what a book can do for you. You know, do you mind if I share it with my mastermind group and a few other people? And this particular person said, you know, absolutely. She says, you know, share it. By all means, share it. So it was really interesting. What had happened was one of my clients in the UK, she was doing a talk, I guess it was to 100 people about 2 weeks ago. And the Thursday before the talk, she called me and she said, you know, I need 100 books for this talk I'm doing with 100 people on the next Wednesday. Can you get me the books there fast enough? I said, well, it's Thursday, next Wednesday, we can probably do it. And I looked it up and I said, but it's going to be an additional charge for rush printing, an additional charge for rush shipping. And I said, it works out to about another $150 extra. And she's joking around. She says, "No, I'm not sure whether I should spend $150. Do you think it'd be worth it?" And I said, and I laughed and I said, "Listen, if you can't make another $150 speaking in front of 100 or speaking in front of 100 people with your best-selling book, you should not be in this business anymore." And of course, we laughed about it, right? But anyhow, the books got there on time. And here's the email, the actual email that came in during another call. I was talking to people about how powerful this process. So here it is. It says, "Hi, Bob. The books last week were so brilliant. Thank you. The company contributed, the organizer contributed, and out of her own pocket, excuse me, we've got a little bit of light problem here. The organizer contributed out of her own pocket, and as you know, so did I contribute $150. Already, less than a week, I've had a return of, listen to this, $15,000 on books, on books being out there. And what happened next? And that's only after 2 conversations with 35
Who applied?
who applied. That's a 10,000% return. She started laughing out loud. So far, that's without corporate investment, whom I'm sure will be coming. So there she was.
Mhm.
100 people she spoke to. She booked 35 people in the strategy session, which is a strategy that we teach our authors how to do. Out of the 35 people she booked, she'd only talked to two, and she had a $15,000 return already.
Mhm.
So, when people invest in $10,000 for a program into me, I'm like, of course it's worth it because you're going to get your money back over and over and over again. So nobody can knock me off my horse and say, that's not worth it. Well, I already know it's worth it.
Mhm.
Kay already knows it's worth it. So we always work with our authors as well, our entrepreneurs and our coaches, to make sure they have that same sound value and know that their transformation is worth it. Because once they know that that transformation is worth it, nobody can knock them off their horse. And not only will they be able to share their blessings and make big money, but they'll also be able to help their clients share their blessings and make good money as well. Because let's face it, none of us get to do what we want unless we can make some money doing what we love to do.
Mhm.
And the more money we make, the better, the more people we can help. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's perfect. Actually, that's one of the things about writing a book is that many people think that if they write a book, they're gonna make money with selling their own books, right? And one of the things that I really like about Bob and the things that Bob teach is that that's not the right number. That's not the right number to look at. If you want to write a book, you don't look at how many books you are going to sell to figure out how much money you are going to make. But really, the reality about making money with a book is about something else. Is in another place, right? Now, Bob spoke about the strategy sessions as an author. Now, Bob, can you explain that a little bit? Like, what is if that's not the right place to look at, what is the right place to look at?
Well, as you say, from coming to workshops of mine, that I'm a real straight shooter. And where most authors go wrong is, as you say, they focus on the wrong numbers. And what do I mean by the wrong numbers? Well, they focus on, can I make $1.75 a book in royalties rather than $1.50? Well, the fact of the matter is, for most of us, and we're talking probably 98, 99% of us, we're not going to make a huge amount of money from royalties. For a book that can sell 5,000 units is a big seller, and not too many, only a handful of books in Canada will actually do that.
Mhm.
But having said that, when you start looking at your book in a holistic way, that same book that might only make $5,000 or $10,000 maximum from royalties, or even less, maybe even $1,000 from royalties, or $500 from royalties, I've seen over and over again where they make $1 million on back end products, which we work with authors on, because that's the numbers that you should be focusing on. So, for example, my book, let's say, is $6 of ink and paper. That's it. $6 of ink and paper. That's all it's worth. But the value comes when you take action on some of the strategies and information that's in the book. So if you start taking, action on some of these strategies, you can make, let's say, 10, 20, $100,000 from taking that information and taking action on it. So that's the real value, and that's what we teach, is that whole idea. So let's focus on, as you said, a strategy session. Well, what's a strategy session? Well, that might be where you're out there, you're speaking to, like for example, I was just talking about Kay. So what we did with her is she wrote her book. We made it the best-selling, number one best-selling book in the UK on Amazon. And now she goes out and speaks, to usually groups of between 25 and 100 people. So with this particular talk we're talking about here, she spoke to 100 people. So we taught her a process where she does a strategy session. So what she'll do is she's a communications expert, by the way. She helps people communicate better, get what they want, change their lives, because you're only going to make as much money as you can communicate effectively too. So that's what she teaches. So anyhow, she goes out there and she speaks with her book. So she doesn't worry about the fact of whether she's going to sell 100 books at that particular talk or whether it's going to cost her negative. They gave 100 books away at that particular talk. They gave those books away to that audience, free books. Okay, but where the magic came in was she had, out of those 100 people, 35 people apply to have strategy sessions with her. That's not where she sold people into a strategy session. We have it so that they have to apply to her for a strategy session. Different energy there.
That's attracting the client instead of going after the client.
Absolutely. There's a huge different energy there. So they're applying to her. So there's 35 people that apply. So she goes through this process, and then with this particular, we actually have a script that we go through. Then the program, they'll sell a program, whether it's a workshop or a 90-day program, whatever that is for that particular author, which we talk about. She's got different programs, but she'll sell a program for, let's say, $7,500, and she'll sell that in a 90-minute strategy session over the phone. So she'll take them from cold to sold or interested to invested within 90 minutes.
I like that cold to sold. That was the first time I heard it.
Cold to sold. You like that?
Cold to sold.
Cold to sold. And this is really important. In 90 minutes. Okay, so now she's got people into a $7,500 program. Now, there's a huge difference there. And I'll give you an example of when I first heard about this in my mastermind that I joined several years ago. There was a gal that she taught social networking at UCLA. She was one of the bigger gurus in the US. And she was telling us in the mastermind, she said, what used to happen was a lot of these Fortune 500 companies in the US, when they first started realizing that they had to do social networking because it was a thing you had to do for Fortune 500 company to do, they started calling around to all the different, gurus in the industry. And of course, this gal was one of them. So she get a call from so-and-so corporation saying, we're starting to think about doing social networking. What can you do for us? So before she knew about this whole process and about a strategy session and how all of it worked, what she would do is she would give a proposal, she would submit the proposal, then they'd come back and they'd ask questions, she would resubmit the proposal. This went on for like 3 months, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. After 3 months, she'd maybe get, let's say, 1 in 5 people that would say, okay, fine, let's go for the proposal, right? But with a strategy session over the 90 minutes, this process that I'm talking about, rather than this back and forth proposal over 3 months, she would take them from, as you said, cold to sold within 90 minutes. So it saved that whole 3 months of back and forth with disappointments by the way she set herself up to do strategy sessions. So these are the type of things that, like I say, we help our authors with, strategy sessions and how to keep clients and stuff like that. But then also that whole energy of they're applying to you. And I'll tell you how powerful it can be when people apply to you. A lot of the times when I speak, I'll have openings for, let's say, 5 or 10 strategy sessions, and that's it. That might be all the time I have available in the coming week for strategy sessions. I can only do so many. So anyhow, what I'll do is I'll say I have 5 openings for free strategy sessions. Normally the value of these strategy sessions is $125, but because you're a friend of Aman's, I'm going to waive that fee and it's going to be for free, but I only have openings for 5. Well, I've had people that will actually call me in the office the next morning and say, listen, I know that the strategy sessions were free, but you only had openings for 5 people. I don't want to take the chance that I'm not one of the people picked. Do you mind if I just pay for the strategy session? So it shows you the effectiveness of that way of doing things. So there's a lot of different strategies like that. As we sort of got to this point here that we're talking about, it's just that whole idea of really focusing on the things that are really going to make you money as an author, whether it's whether you're using your book to expand your current business or whether you're using your book as your actual business. Either way, when you start focusing on the right numbers, it's amazing what will happen. Like, to give you an example, there's a gal that I started working with a couple of years ago. She's Kelsey Grammer, Kelsey Grammer's ex-fiance. Remember the hit show Fraser? Yeah. Well, anyhow, his ex-fiance, Shandy, she had a book that's called Manifesting Love from the Inside Out. And she's a really great speaker, beautiful looking gal, fantastic book. And she'd go out there and speak, and at the end of her talk, she'd say, "Thank you very much. And if you want to get a hold of me, here's my email address, and I'll be back in the room and I'll sign some books." Well, she was struggling. She was making a little bit of money, but she was struggling. We started saying, one thing you don't realize, Tammy, is people are coming out here to see you speak because you're a best-selling author. They really love what you have to say, but they don't know how to take it further with you. So we really started putting together processes where when she spoke, we had it so that now, rather than just call me if you need me or I'll be at the back of the room, we took people into, let's say for an example, a workshop, because a lot of the people that read her book really loved her book, and now, there was an opportunity to work with her in a weekend workshop. Well, all of a sudden, to work with her live in a weekend workshop, she was getting all sorts of people signing up. It literally changed her life. She's actually given me a great testimonial about how her income has gone up 400% since she started working with me. And actually, she's now just putting out her second book with us. It's called Manifesting Abundance from the Inside Out. And it was really interesting, another little timing synchronicity. She just sent me a check out of the blue. She's a tither. If you don't know what a tither is, a lot of people tie 10% of their income to people that give them spiritual uplifting, or they're just people that sort of motivate them. They'll give 10% of their income. So, they'll put it into a special account and write out checks to people that really sort of inspire them. But anyhow, a couple of weeks ago, all of a sudden I got a check from her, $200, and said, "Here's an extra $200. I just want to say, thank you. You really inspired me. You really helped me." And it was just out of the blue. So, these are the
Wow.
type of things. Yeah, these are the type of things that can really happen. So, it's really getting that whole system in place to really make it so that people are chasing you, and the onus is they are pursuing you rather than you pursuing them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. So that's one of the things that actually many business owners want to learn is like how to create those systems, how to create a system that attracts clients to itself and then turn them and makes them interested in our services and then turn them from interested into invested and help people to change their lives, businesses, and environment, right? So actually, if you want to learn more about those strategies, I know that many of you are, I'm looking at the names on the call, and I know many of you are attending my event this Saturday and Sunday called Marketing Mastery Summit. So for those of you who have a ticket to Marketing Mastery Summit, perfect. For those of you who don't have a ticket yet to Marketing Mastery Summit, by the end of this call at 2 p.m., around 1:50 to 2 p.m., I'm going to give every single person who is on this call a free ticket for this weekend to attend Marketing Mastery Summit. And during Marketing Mastery Summit, I teach step-by-step system on how to get people, how to attract people to your business, and how to make them interested, and how to turn them from interested into invested, and help them to change their lives, businesses, and environment, and help you to have a better business for yourself, to build a business that you are really proud of, and you know that you are building a legacy that is helping others and is great for you and your financial matters, right? Now, Bob, you talked about the strategy session, and you said that everywhere that you go, you have a strategy session that you talk to people about. What are those? So, what do you talk on those? What is the thing that you help people with that strategy session?
Well, with strategy sessions right now, what I'll do is I'll help people to make sure, most importantly, that they're writing the right book. A lot of people will write a book to build a business around, but a lot of people will also write a book to help them attract more people to the current business that they're running, because it's a great way to attract customers to the current business you've got. So what I'll do is, like I say, I'll make sure that you are writing the right book that is very congruent with the goal that you want to achieve. Because some people will say to me, "Well, Bob, it's probably too early yet. I should come to you after I've written the book." And I'm going, "Well, the problem with that is you might spend, 6 months or a year writing the book, and then you'll come to me, and I'm going to have to tell you that you've spent 6 months or a year and you've written the wrong book. It's not congruent with the goal that you're trying to achieve. So you better to start right from the beginning, making sure that you are writing the right information to your ideal client that you want to attract. Because if you're talking to the ideal clients that you want to attract, your life becomes so much easier. You make so much more money. Plus, you help the people that want to be helped, as opposed to the people that don't want to take action and don't want to be helped. It's so nice to work with people that really, are into your information and want to be helped and want to take action and want to run with it, because not only are you changing their life, you're changing your life as well. So everybody wins with that type of situation. So with a strategy session, like I say, I really make sure that you're heading in the right direction and that you're writing the right book and it's structured properly to your ideal client.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So number one, write the right book, right?
Yeah.
Writing the right book. Okay. Now, one other thing is that on these sessions, if you as an audience have any questions, you can ask your questions here below, and we will read the questions and answer to those questions, whatever your questions are going to be. So just feel free if you have any questions about writing a book, publishing a book, self-publishing, or even strategies and how you can create that client magnet, which I call it client magnet. How to create a client magnet for your business. Just feel free to ask your questions, and both Bob and I will be able to help you with your questions and answer them as much as possible. Okay, so just feel free to share your questions with us as well. Now, Bob, another question that I always ask from successful business owners is that when you were starting, how many years ago was it? Like
Well, you're talking about the book writing.
The book writing.
It's almost 7 years ago, between 6 and 7 years.
So when you were starting 6 years ago,
Yeah.
what were the baby steps of building the business besides writing the book, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that you wrote the book, but
Yeah.
what were the baby steps?
Yeah. This is, I love this question because it's probably one of the most important questions. And here's where I think too many of us go wrong. We spend too much time getting ready. And we think we're doing good by ourselves by getting ready, but really getting ready sometimes can be just a big form of procrastination. I was in a book with Lisa Sasevich. Actually, I did Lisa Sasevich's book for her called The Live Sassy Formula. And my particular story in the book was about building the plane while you fly it. And what that means is, let me sort of tell you about my father. My father he was an entrepreneur as well. And he was the type of fellow that he came up with an idea. He would develop the idea over a 2-year period. And then after a 2-year period of working hard for that 2 years, not bringing in any money, he would pull the trigger and he would find out that that idea wouldn't sell. But meanwhile, he spent 2 years, a lot of money, not making any money. And all of a sudden he's got nothing at the end of 2 years. Well, consequently, I love my dad. He's gone now, but, our family struggled because of that. I took the opposite approach that I'm not even going to build anything until I know it works. So, for example, when I first put together about my book, originally what I did was I called up continuing education and I called up the program directors.
I think I have to stop you. It seems that people can't hear you properly.
Oh,
maybe you can sit here closer.
Yep.
Okay.
How's that? Is that good?
Can you hear Bob better now?
Is that better? Can everybody hear me? Okay. So I would call the continuing education program directors. And I would say that, I've got a course that I would like to teach in your continuing education school. And the name of the course is How to Write and Publish Your Book in 40 Days. And the program director said, that sounds like a course we would love to have taught in our school. Can you please send us a course description? I said, absolutely. So I hung up the phone and I wrote out the course description. and I sent it into the continuing education school. I phoned them back and I said, so what do you think of the course description? They said, wow, we really like it. We want to set up with some dates to teach that to our students. I said, fantastic, let's set up dates, and we did. So anyhow, then I hung up the phone and I actually wrote out the course and I taught it. Now,
okay, so first you sold it?
Yes.
Then you wrote it?
Then I wrote it. And the reason I did that is because I wasn't going to write out a complete course unless I knew that it sold. I want to make sure that it's dialed in first and it's selling before I put in all that time. And I help my authors to do this all the time because I don't want you putting in a whole bunch of time and money into something that might not work. So, procrastination can come in ways that are really sneaky. So, for example, we teach about how to get out there and speak with your book. And there's many, many times that you can go out there and speak with your book, even to a small group. Make $5, 10, 15, $20,000 speaking with your book. So I'll say to a new author, I'll call them up. The book's been released, and I'll say, "So how are you doing?" And they go, "Well, I'm waiting to do a WordPress course over in Victoria." And I'll say, "Well, why are you waiting to do a WordPress course over in Victoria?" "Well, the reason I'm waiting to do a WordPress course over in Victoria is because then I can post my own articles on my blog and I'll be able to save $25 an hour." And I'll say to them, "But if you go out and do what I've trained you to do, you can maybe make $5,000 or $10,000 with a talk, and you can hire 20 people to post your articles on your blog." So, really, we all do it with the best of intentions, but it really can be just a form of procrastination. I'm a great believer of, build the plane while you fly it, get out there. One of the very first products that I ever had was a 3 DVD set. And I was speaking in front of 20 people. And at the end of the talk, I said to these 20 people, I said, "I have a 3 DVD set with all this information that I've just talked about. It's got the 3 DVDs and a workbook, and it's in a binder. And the first time I sold it, I only sold it for $47. But anyhow, I said it's $47. And out of those 20 people, 4 people bought it." Mm-hmm. And then I said, after the 4 people bought it, "I won't be able to ship it for 2 weeks because right now they're on back order. And the reason that they were on back order was because I hadn't made the product yet." So what I did was the next talk, I had a person come out and with a video and video me doing that talk and giving all that information. And then we made it into that product, which I've been selling now for a number of years. And we sent it to the people from the previous week. But now that product's been raised from $47 to $67 to $87 to $97 to $147, and it just keeps selling over and over again from work that I was doing anyway, but I did not make the product until I had actually sold it. So, I'm a great believer, like I say, of really making sure that it's going to work in advance, because the last thing I want any of my clients to do is waste time or money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Actually, what Jill here writes is that we should promote our book before we write it, right? So I want to say, actually,
you say Jill, right?
Jill, right? Actually, can you, Bob, allow me to reach that closet here?
Yeah.
Just 1 second, right? Oh, there's so many stuff in this closet. Anyhow, I think it's so much stuff in it. But I wanted to show you one thing here. I have $15 in that closet because the day that I sold my first book, and here is the trick.
Yeah.
I even haven't written the book yet, right?
Yeah.
I've already sold 20 copies of my book.
Yeah.
I even haven't started writing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now here is the thing. I sold the first book when I was on the stage at one of the events. It was at Bob's event.
My event.
Right? It was at Bob's event. I was talking about how to create an irresistible offer for your clients. And after my talk was over, I said, "By the way, I came up with the name of my book," and I shared the name of my book. And there were 40 people in that room that they were shouting to buy the book.
Yeah.
And I told them that I just came up with the name of the book. I even haven't written it yet. I even haven't started writing it yet, right? And I said, "I don't have any forms to sell the book to you, so sorry, I can't sell it to you." I went back to my seat. A person came, forced $15 to my hand and said, "I trust you. Whenever your book is ready, just send it to me."
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And from that day till now, which is like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. In the past 3 weeks, I sold 20 copies of my book.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure by the time that the book is launched, probably we have sold over 500 copies of the book.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you know, most of the books even are not sold more than 100 copies.
Yeah.
Now, the way that we are doing it is just the books are already sold. 500 copies of them will be sold before March or April 2014. And whenever I'm selling the book, I just tell people that the book will be ready probably by April 2014. So Jill, absolutely, if you want to write a book, start promoting it,
Yeah.
start pre-selling your book.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because not only that, you've declared to the universe that you are the author of the soon to be released book.
Mhm.
Well, you better come through with it now, right? You got no other choice. You've declared to the universe and your customers that you've got this book coming out. So you better, in good faith, make sure that that book comes out. So it's a win-win for everybody, isn't it? And we encourage our authors, Jill, it's a really good point you brought up. We encourage our authors, you don't have to wait until the book is actually um, finished before you get out there and start speaking. And we encourage our authors to get out there and say, I am Bob of the soon to be released book, 101 Reasons Why You Must Write a Book. So, yeah, absolutely. Build the plane while you fly it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, I want to show you a trick about writing a book because, as I told you, like I went on the stage and I said I'm writing the book, and then people started buying it. Right? I'm forcing money to my hand to buy the book. So here is what I did. I found myself in the situation that I have to write the book.
Yeah.
Really, there is
Yeah.
no other way for procrastinating it.
Yeah.
Actually, that night I went to Facebook and I said, guys, I'm in trouble because somebody bought the book. Now I have to write it. Really,
Yeah.
right? I've been wanting to write my book for around 3 years now,
Yeah.
and I was always procrastinating it.
Yeah.
So anyhow, now I'm in the situation that I have to write it. So here is what I did. I know that I speak better than I write, right? So what I did, I went to Future Shop and bought an MP3 player, right? This is an MP3 player. It was in my pocket. It wasn't ready for this presentation, but I always have this in my pocket. And every day that I am just sitting and doing nothing, I start recording my sound and talking about one piece of the book. So, for example, part of my book is about how to create irresistible offers.
Yeah.
Another book is how to create promotional partnerships to have hundreds of people referring clients to you.
Yeah.
Right. So all I do, I start recording and record my voice.
Yeah.
Right. And the book is going to be in an audio format here.
Yeah.
Then what I do, I send this to a service called internettranscriber.com, and they turn the audio file into written format. Okay,
Word file?
In a Word file.
Yeah, great.
In a Word edited file.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the book.
Yeah, I know.
That's the first draft of the book. Right?
I know. Yeah.
So all I do is that during the day, whenever I'm doing nothing, I just record my voice like for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, right? And this way, the book is being written and will be probably ready. My goal is to get it ready by mid-December.
Yeah.
And it's just mid-December because I'm going away. I'm going on holiday at the beginning of December for 14 days.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of time to talk, right?
Yeah.
And I will be on plane for about 14 hours.
Yeah.
So that's the best time to write a book. Write the book while you're flying.
You bet.
Right?
There's no reason for any of us not to have a book.
Right. So that's one of the many ways of writing and publishing your book. Now, if you do an event, right, you can record the sound of the event, right? You can record an audio file from your event and just send it to internettranscribers.com or any transcription service that is out there, and just get them to send the transcript. And that transcript is the first draft of your book, right?
Absolutely.
That's a perfect strategy. Now, Bob, if our audience want to have a one-on-one chat with you, right, and have a strategy session with you to understand what book is right for them and what book is not,
Yeah.
like what's the right book for them to write,
Yeah.
and how they can write it. Is there any place that I can send them to?
Yeah, actually, I've got an opening for 5 next week, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
5 strategy sessions.
Okay.
Normally $125, but because of Oman, they're free. And if you go to expertauthorpublishing.com, expertauthorpublishing.com.
So it's
authorpublishing.com.
publishing.com.
and then you scroll down to the bottom of that homepage, and you'll see a tab that says strategy session. Click on the strategy session.
Okay.
Yeah, right there, right down to the bottom of the page.
Okay.
And just click on strategy session, fill out that application.
Okay.
And my administrator, my assistant, will set up a time that we can have a talk and a strategy session to make sure you're heading in the right direction, and that your book is going to be congruent with your ideal client, and that you can start down the path of attracting higher paying great clients and have some fun. If you're struggling, there's no easier way to attract clients, especially ones that you love working with. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's perfect. So go to expertauthorpublishing.com, scroll to the down of the page. It's at the very, very, very bottom of the page, right? And then there is a button that says schedule a strategy session, and then there you can fill in the form and have a strategy session next week with Bob on how you can write and publish your book. Okay.
Absolutely. I look forward to talking to you.
Yeah. Now, then, so here's let's wrap up everything in a simple format.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How to write and publish our book to grow our business? What would be the first step?
Well, I think the first step is always critical, and that's that critical point of you really want to focus on your ideal client or reader, or your, I guess the old way of saying it is your target market. Because as you know, we practice a process, Armand, where literally we can get out there and speak to, let's say, 50 people for 90 minutes, and we'll get more leads and customers in a 90-minute talk than most entrepreneurs will get in a month's worth of networking. True? Yeah, we do it all the time. Yeah. I mean, it's common practice, but we know how to do it. And one of the ways we know how to do it is because we know how to get in front of our ideal clients. So one of the first things you want to do is you really want to make sure that you are writing that book to your ideal client or reader, because that, with the right start, you're going to end up with the right ending. And let me say this: any book is better than no book. But having said that, there's a lot of things you can do to really make your business a lot stronger, a lot better, and a lot more fun. And one thing I always talk about with business owners and entrepreneurs and authors and such forth is a lot of people, they really get stuck on the saving money side of the equation in their business. So let's say they're bringing in $7,000 a month. Well, they start cutting all these costs and expenses, and they try and get it down to things as cheaply as possible. And that's great, but you can only cut out so much of your expenses, and then your life literally becomes unenjoyable, right? Because you cut out so many expenses, you can't really live your life. So it makes your life harder. Not only that, some of the people that you're cutting out probably will resent you and probably won't want to work with you anymore. So that's not good energy. But on the other side of the equation, the ones that we work in, it's infinite. So in other words, if we can get you from $6,000 to $10,000 a month, from $10,000 to $20,000 a month, 20 to 40, 40 to 100, 100 to 200, there's no ceiling on the upside, but there's always a ceiling and negative energy on the downside. So once again, where do you want to focus? You want to focus on your ideal client, and you want to focus on what's going to be bringing you in and building a business and a really good legacy, as Aman says, for your family and yourself. So that's what I'd say, is really focus on, first of all, that ideal client, and then also making sure that your book is going to be congruent with your ideal client.
Okay. Okay, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks. That's great. Now, as I promised at the beginning of this call, I'm going to give every single person who is on the call a free ticket to attend Marketing Mastery Summit. Now, Marketing Mastery Summit is a 2-day event where I teach entrepreneurs how to build a successful business with following a system. And that system is starts with a client magnet. So create something that attracts clients to you and then make them interested and then turn them from interested into invested. And
Cold to sold.
yeah, cold to sold, right? and and then at the end we talked about automation and how you can automate that entire system. I know many of you on this call already have a ticket to attend Marketing Mastery Summit this weekend. It's a lot of things happening. There will be around 80 people in the event. So we are very excited. At Success Road Academy, we are all excited about having that event. And for you guys, if you want to reserve your seats to Marketing Mastery Summit, go to www.marketingmasterysummit.com. I just posted the link for you here. Okay. And if you go there, you see that the tickets to Marketing Mastery Summit is $297. Okay. But as I promised, I'm going to give you a free ticket to Marketing Mastery Summit. So when you scroll down to the place that you can do the registration, you can add a promo code and to take the price to zero. Use the promo code BB webinar. It is the synonym of the acronym of Bob Burnham webinar. Okay, I put the code for you as well. So go to marketingmasterysummit.com and use the code BB webinar to reserve your seat for this Saturday and Sunday, 18th and 19th. This Saturday, sorry, 16th. What's this Saturday and Sunday? Anyhow, for this Saturday and Sunday, I think it's 16th and 17th of November, right? To reserve your seat. And we are going to have a lot of fun at Marketing Mastery Summit and talking a lot about these strategies and how you can build a successful business with using systems and take your business to the next level. And if anybody has any question, feel free to ask your questions. We're going to be live for another 6 minutes. And just before finish, I want to ask Bob another question. Just
Sure.
the last question from me.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask that question as well. And you can use this promo code right now and go and reserve your seat. By the way, there are few seats left. Literally, there are only less than 10 seats left at Marketing Mastery Summit. So if you want to attend Marketing Mastery Summit, it's a good idea that you do it as soon as possible. And Bob, the last question for you. I always ask entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, about their failures. What was the biggest failure that you looked at it as a failure in your book writing business, in your book publishing business? What was the biggest thing that you called that a failure?
You know, I guess as an entrepreneur and an author, I look at failure as you really only ever fail if you give up. And of course, you and I aren't in a give up group, are we?
No.
But having said that, I think the only real failures I've ever had is not taking action fast enough. You know, a lot of the things that I've done, I've had great success with, but, you know, I really often wonder, why didn't I do it last year or the year before? Because, you know, all these strategies that you talk about, I know how effective they are, you know, because I use a lot of your strategies and they're brilliant. But, you know, sometimes I procrastinate or, you know, you tell me and I don't hear you or whatever. And that's what I consider one of my failures is just not implementing and taking action. Because I know a number of your strategies have made a huge difference in my business. And yeah, absolutely. And, you know, and just, you know, get through that fear and doubt and get on with it. Because if you don't take action, I guarantee you will fail. But if you do take action, you might have a couple of bumps in the road, but your life will get better and better and better and easier. Like I say, you'll have some bumps in the roads, but that's the only way you can have failure is if you give up. And I'll tell you something, if you're working with Ahmad, he won't let you give up. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Bob. I really appreciate that. Very nice. Thanks. Thank you. Very, very, very nice. Okay, guys. Thank you everyone for being on the call. Let me read I'm just reading some of the comments here out loud with Bob. So Ham says I bought an ebook for $10, 101 natural remedies for pain relief. What do you think about the ebook rather than publishing the book?
Well, I think that's a really good question. The way we have it set up with our distribution network is it doesn't cost anything more to have a physical book than a ebook. And there's still, even though there's more ebooks being sold now than physical books, I think it's about 55% ebooks and 45% physical books. I think it's still really important to have that physical book because there's still people, if you're speaking to a group and they say, can I get a copy of your book? And you say, well, it's only an ebook. You've discounted yourself. So if it doesn't cost anything more, have both the physical version and the ebook version. But we also recommend that you do the physical version first because we have a strategy where we position you as not only an author, but we try and get you a #1 spot in your category on Amazon. So you get a #1 best-selling Amazon author, which gives you a little bit more credibility. So first the physical and then the ebook.
Okay, so it's a combination of ebook and the book.
Yeah.
Okay. And I see that Michelle Azlan has uh, has signed up for a strategy session.
Good.
So there are only 4 strategy sessions left.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, perfect. Thank you everyone. And it's 2 p.m. right now. Thanks for joining us today. And sorry for a little bit of audio problem. And we are going to improve this technology week by week and then having more and more effective things. I see almost all of you at Marketing Mastery Summit this weekend. I'm seeing there are several orders right now for Marketing Mastery Summit. People are booking their seats to Marketing Mastery Summit. That's great to have you at Marketing Mastery Summit. I'm looking forward to have you. I'm working with you on your business. And thank you, Bob, for taking the time, coming out, sharing your stories, and teaching people more about everything I think about bookmaking. Thanks.
It's my pleasure. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and have a good rest of the day. By the way, I'm going to leave this chat room open for the next half an hour. So if you feel that you want to communicate with others, many people use this is use this place as a chat room. It's like 1995 that people used to do chat room, like go to chat room. So I'm gonna keep the room open. So if you want, you can chat with each other, introduce yourself to each other, and do some networking as well for another half an hour. Thank you very much, and have a good rest of the day. Bye.